the beginning of a new year on some calendars, so Happy New Year. And I'm just reminded that there are many different ways of keeping time. And so we also have the full moon, or the moon is waxing, and it will be full this January 6th, Friday, I believe. And then we also have the celebration of the Lunar New Year, the Chinese Lunar New Year, after the new moon of January. So it usually falls around February 2nd, which is also in Celtic traditions, that is the time that Imbolc is celebrated. So I mention all of this simply as a reminder that we, at least the perspective that I come from, we are intrinsically tied to the cycles of the natural world. So I know most of you, but just in case I don't know you, I'm Martha Rogers, and I am the founder of Full Moon Acupuncture and Apothecary. I'm a writer, a gatherer, a practitioner of Chinese medicine, and also a creative. And as I look around, there's so much wisdom in this space today, and there'll be time later. Hoping I do a good job with my timing, but I would really hope that there's time later that we can share together and hear from some of you. If you have questions, please put them in the chat. And as I mentioned, Pam Stein is here, as well as Ezra Saniz, and they are both part of the renewal team, Full Moon team. And so let's go. We will take a few moments to ground and to breathe together, to open sacred space. And as the entry into that, I would very much like to take a moment to honor the land that I am sitting on, the land that I am teaching from, the land that my home is on here in Baltimore City. And this land is stolen land. It was taken from Piscataway, Lumbee, and also Eastern Band of Cherokee peoples, taken by forced removal. So as we gather here today to reflect on how we honor winter within our own bodies, within the natural landscape, may we all acknowledge the first peoples who are still living on this land, and recognize the right of the earth as well as the waterways to heal, so that all of us may be nourished once again and have them restored so that they can be a source of medicine for all. So I am in the process of learning more about land acknowledgements, and as I reflected in preparation for this class, that's what I have to offer as we begin this space and sharing sacred time together. So thank you. Let's sit together as I know we've already been doing, but let's do it in a way with intention. I am assuming I haven't heard from you guys, and I can't see the chat, so that everything is still flowing freely. So find a comfortable seat. And let the eyes close if that feels comfortable to you. And again, if available, if comfortable to you, feel your sitting bones in your chair or on the earth. Feel your feet on the ground. Make that connection to the earth beneath your feet. Let's take a few breaths together. Just very gently. Remembering the sacred space within the soil of our own body. And we can even take our palms, if you like, and place them over the lower belly, In Chinese medicine, this is the space of the lower dantian, sometimes known as the cinnabar field. And this is a place where we can really cultivate our vitality. So we'll breathe a few breaths into the space, just a few inches below and behind the navel. And in some ways, this is where winter and the correspondent organ systems live in our body, in our physical body, the kidneys and the bladder. And we say in Chinese medicine that the kidneys are the root of all energy. And hence their preciousness in life, in our bodies, in our well-being. Good, and then keeping one hand on the low belly, let's bring one hand to the heart. So connecting the darkness, the mystery, the potency of winter to the light, the fire of the heart. Feel your feet. Perhaps feel your sitting bones, your backbone, your heart. Then feel into the space, the container that we're creating together, and all of the beauty and wisdom in this circle, this gathering, this celebration. And then we can, the eyes are closed, just keeping some awareness drawn inwards, just very gently let the eyes open, taking in the space, the physical sounds, sights. Thank you. And so I'll be speaking from the perspective of Chinese medicine, from the 5-element paradigm, which is one branch of Chinese medicine. And I remember being in acupuncture school. I started in 2005, and I'd been receiving treatment for a while, and noticed such an incredible change in my being and my spirit as a result of the medicine. It was like the rivers of my being, my creativity, I would even say my soul started to like flow again. And so I became very intrigued in the medicine, and I went to sit in and observe a class, and also started doing my own reading. And it was like everything I was reading was so deeply resonant. And I fell in love with the poetry and the science of the medicine. And I'll say because it is a nature-based medicine, because the ancients of this medicine understood so keenly that we, the human being, the human body, is not separate from the natural world. You know, all of our separation is illusory. And that's really come to inform so much of my work in the treatment room, as well as sort of this new phase for me of teaching more online courses, or I don't even know, I would say teaching, guiding others to remember the sacredness of the waterways within you, the sacredness of the land of your body, the sacredness of the rhythm and the intelligence of your being. So, and of course, this is a very ancient medicine, traditional medicine. So as you know, as I talk about this, of course, there is overlap into many, if not all, traditional forms of medicine and folk medicine. Quickly coming back to just another practice we can do in winter. So like quiet sitting and breathing. This season of winter is, I was thinking this morning, it's like the matriarch of the seasons. And when I say that, what I mean by that is it is the most yin. And so because of time, I can't go into too much, but most of us, but maybe not all of us, have some sort of understanding of what the concept of yin is. Yin and yang is the foundation in Chinese medicine, the two poles, yin and yang, yin being darkness, yin being stillness, yin often referred to as the feminine principle. And by that, it is associated with mystery, with night and winter. It is about receptivity. And the power, right? Like winter is the matriarch. Winter is about the power that we coalesce when we sit in the darkness and the deep knowing is revealed to us. So in Chinese medicine, that relates to the kidneys and the bladder, which I alluded to earlier while we were sitting. And just one other like lovely thing to tend our kidneys. Kidneys are so precious. And when I say kidneys, I'm also saying our adrenals. We hear a lot in Western medicine about the import of adrenals, adrenal health for regulating sleep rhythms, cortisol levels, and so on and so forth. So one way we can tend to that very easily with a little Qigong practice. And I'm going to stand up, hopefully you can see me. This area here at the lower back is there's an acupuncture point called Governor Vessel 4. And if we just gently tap up and down, going all the way down to the tailbone. And do this about 9 times. We'll just breathe in, out through an open mouth if you like. And what we are doing is we are gently awakening the fire of the kidneys. So that's something that's lovely to do every day, maybe first thing in the morning. So coming back to our honoring winter, each year, you know, right, we have the wheel of life and we have the seasons and the cycles, and winter comes again. So I know there is at least one person here in California. And so that question always comes like, well, what if I'm living in a warm climate? There is still winter, it just may not be as pronounced, right, as we might experience here in the sort of Northeast-ish. So winter comes each year and winter comes each day. So when I talk of winter today, I am speaking, yes, of the season we're in, the solar season, and I am also more symbolically speaking about winter that comes in the 24-hour period, right? The 8 hours approximately of darkness, 8 to 10 hours of darkness that comes each day. So that also energetically is, we could say, like a little mini winter every day. And so again, winter, as I was saying a moment ago, is a yin, is the most yin. Autumn is another yin season. And so in the winter, we are asked to cultivate the yin arts. Yin arts being stillness, reflection, receptivity, and perhaps, like most importantly, is the cultivation of our own wisdom. And to make that distinction, which some of you may already be very familiar with, wisdom is what we know in our bones. It is not what someone else can teach us, as opposed to knowledge, right? Knowledge comes from an external source and comes into us. So I think of it in some ways, knowledge is more of like a yang function because it often lives here, whereas wisdom is a more somatic, can be a more somatic experience, a lived experience, lived in the body. So winter's here with an outstretched hand for all of us to do just a little bit better, right? Like just a little bit better with our cultivation. And as I said earlier, this medicine is already within you, like it already lives in you. Let me just see if I want to, yeah. So the other thing I'll say before I share some slides with you all is I'm a very anxious creature. Like I have a lot of, I don't even like to use the word anxiety, but I'm just going to use it. Anxiety in another tradition, Vata, like my mind is just going in 100 directions. I'm an ideas person. So like, boom, coming back, finding my roots, connecting with the earth is like a daily, multiple times a day practice for me. And I mention that because this season of winter is also, I'm talking like kidneys and bladder, adrenals from a Chinese perspective, but we can almost take that and bring that into nervous system conversation. So when the water element is out of balance, it's going to show up as nervous system fight flight. So that overstress, that overactive nervous system, which so many of us live in a lot, right? And maybe that's why we're all here today, is to find even small ways to continue to help us be able to move more easily into rest and digest. So let's take a look at some foods and herbs that will help us restore harmony, right? Because we know intellectually that slowing down is important, it's essential, and sometimes it feels impossible. Of course, it feels impossible if we are in an activated state of hyperarousal. All right. So anybody have any questions so far? Let me do a time check. Let me then scoot over here and close this. Boo, boo, boo. Look at all your faces. Now I get to see all your faces again. All right. Let's go. Where's my next slide? I'm going to show you guys something if it works. Yes, here we go. Okay. So no questions. I didn't hear questions, so I'm going to keep going. All right, perfection.
I did put one in the chat.
Oh, you did? Tell me what it says.
Okay.
Fabiola.
I just said, so you were talking about how like winter is a time for cultivating our own wisdom, and not really like being focused on what other people are telling us. And so the question I have is, so does that mean like we spend this time reflecting more and maybe not busying our minds with, what other people are saying is good for us, et cetera, and like learning, because I share the anxiety, the anxiousness of it all. And I tend to like want to just like consume information. So I'm just curious from your perspective, if like this might be worth the time slowing down and doing that.
Look at the big smile on my face. Like, it's such a beautiful question. And I feel like in your question, you have an answer for yourself, which is so great. And thank you for that, because it also makes me want to make a distinction in that what I was wanting to convey is the general, that wisdom is a virtue that we say in Chinese medicine, like, or there's an expression that like as we age, the beauty or the gift is that we come more deeply into our own wisdom, right? Because wisdom is a learned experience, a lived experience, right? Like we have to go through things, we have to go through darkness and come out in order to give birth to or our own wisdom. And so I was just wanting to make a distinction that wisdom is a yin art, whereas knowledge, right, like learning from external sources, I would say, and others might disagree with me, and that's fine, is more categorically a yang activity, right? So in terms of in winter, though, what you said, like the word I heard is like, maybe should I be reflecting more? And then like all the bells went off and it was like, yes, winter is about reflection, right? Like, what do you already carry in yourself? Like what is already in all of us in our depths? And so does that help at all, Kubila?
Yes, it does.
So
because I don't think I do that. So
none of us do it that well, so that's where again, like, I don't want it to be, and I'm saying this like I am speaking to myself, and that's why I had to do like the statement, like, I don't have anything down, guys. Like, I don't have it down. Like, I still get anxious. I'm like a creature flying all over the place with so much ideation. And the beauty is the seasons come, right? Each year, each day, to give us an invitation to learn again, to keep learning, right? Like how to slow down, how to listen inwards, right? With more intention, how to pay attention to our own body. And the other thing I wanted to say, or you're helping me remember before I show you slides, is that the cycle of the seasons is a generative cycle. Like autumn gives birth to winter, winter gives birth to spring. So like when we take that time, whether it's each night or whether it's in the literal season of winter, to slow down, to nourish our resources, our deep resources, it allows our spring, right, our daytime activity, our yang energy to be more exuberant. Does that make sense? So like, I think we all know if we're not sleeping for multiple days in a row, or we're not sleeping for 6 months, it's going to impact how we feel. It's going to impact our capacity to focus. It's going to impact our physical capacity, so rest is queen, rest is queen, rest is paramount. Winter is the matriarch. And we're all, right? Like, well, I feel like I am at her feet, like learning. And let's go to slides now. All right. So, and thank you for bringing that up, because I haven't been, that's like, I'm not a multitasker. So like having to keep track of chat and like this and that. So thank you for being vocal about it. Now let's see if I can get the next part to work. Boop. All right. Okay. I've already alluded to this. We're cyclical creatures. We are governed by primal rhythms. As we attune to nature's cycle, a deeper well of energy avails itself to us. I have to speed up, so this will be another course. These are so many pages, but just a quick snapshot, and I can send this to you all. I'm happy to do that. I really want to leave space though for sharing all the wisdom that's here. But just a reminder, or perhaps an introduction again of some of the archetypes associated with the yin element. The translation of the character is the shady side of the mountain. And you can read there, it is about being. It is the creative principle, but one of the phrases that I really love is all action, I might not have it quite right, but all action arises from stillness, right? And so if we don't give ourselves stillness, we're going to be inert or impotent. And then we can also see more from a physiological perspective, our hormones. We would consider in Chinese medicine the hormones to be part of the yin, jin yang. And then the energetic movement is downwards and inwards, so on and so forth. Within the body, the yin is responsible for cooling, moistening, and processing. As we age, we lose yin, right? Like we can think of a baby, a little baby comes out, and not always, but sometimes they're just like so juicy and so succulent, and it's like so much suppleness. And that baby is like pure yin, right? It's like so juicy. And then as we age, the juiciness begins to diminish. That's because we are necessarily losing yin as we age. We become more dry, we get wrinkles, and sometimes hair turns white. And all of that is actually expressing a decline of kidney yin and kidney essence. All right, so more on that in the menopause class. And then yin is always in relationship to yang. So yang, the translation of the character, is the sunny side of the mountain, right? And the primary architect is the sun. So you can look over this when it's time. Yeah, this is all great information, but I want to zoom on down, everybody. We're going to zoom down the 5 elements. And this is the stuff I'm excited about, is like remembering that every season offers us lessons and gifts and insights into the art of living and dying well. Like that is super duper important. All right. The other term I want to introduce you to is the term Yang Shen, which can be translated as the nourishment of life. It is I'll say a category of Chinese medicine. And I just love that expression, the nourishment of life. Like, how do we nourish our lives, in each season? And so when I speak of nourishment, and in the renewal program, it is all about nourishment. and the remembrance that nourishment is, so much more. It can be so much more than food. Okay. Just very quickly, I know I'm bringing a lot of information at you. Again, to review, the organ systems that are related are the kidneys and the bladder. We could, in some ways, transliterate that into the nervous system. It's not quite analogous, but it is close. Certainly when the kidneys and bladder and adrenals are out of balance, as I said earlier, it is going to put us into the state of limbic brain, into the state of fight flight, which is very detrimental for our well-being. Let's see, the emotion that is associated with the season of winter, and that is most injurious to the kidneys, is the emotion of fear or fright. So I'll say the other side of that, though, is power and courage. You can see that there are certain tissues associated with the kidneys: the head hair, the marrow, the brain and spinal cord, bones and teeth. There's something known as the Chinese clock. So every organ system has a 2-hour period in each day. And that's a really lovely way to, for instance, the kidneys and the bladder, it's 3 to 5, 5 to 7. Like if you are someone who every day at 3 o'clock or 2:30 feels like you need to have a cup of coffee because you're exhausted, like we can wonder about that, right? Like we can be curious. That is the time when the kidneys are meant to be at their highest capacity. And so it can often be, if not always, a sign that there is depletion. And so it's like, what might I do during that window of time, instead of having coffee and caffeine, that would actually serve to replenish my kidneys, my storehouse? All right. So friends, I'm going to scoot on down. I'm going to ease on down right over here, 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 right over here. I want to go to first what depletes the kidney yin and essence. Look, this is all of us every day. At least it's me. So this is what depletes, right? And this is, I feel like, is what is valued in Western society. So we're at a little bit at odds. Lack of sleep, lack of stillness. I'll let you read. And just like notice, like, again, no judgment on yourself, but like, where are you ticking the lines? Where are you like ticking like, oh, okay, but not in a way that you're judging yourself, in a way that you're like, oh, wow, this is an invitation for me. Okay. So now we know what depletes them. And now it's like, okay, how do we fill the cup? How do we fill the cup? How do we nourish? All right, I'm going to skip here and I'm going to go here. And when I ask that question, how do we nourish ourselves physically? In the winter, we want to absolutely stay hydrated, like stay hydrated. And knowing that the kidneys relate to the bones in Chinese medicine and the marrow, you want to be getting as much minerals, nutritive and high mineral content foods and teas, broths into your body. So you can also take a look here at some of the other things I have. Blackstrap molasses, amazing. I don't know if I said this explicitly earlier, but each season relates to an element of the 5 elements. So water is the element that relates to winter, and water in our bodies, kidneys, bladder, adrenals. And like I said, I'll share this with you, but if you're open to seafood this time of year, and you're open to eating raw oysters, and that is within your means, highly encourage that. It is like your kidneys will be doing a dance of joy. Like your adrenals will be like laying down, like so happy. And if that's not, stinging nettles tea is also just like so rich. It's giving your whole body a beautiful bath of minerals. And of course, these are very general. I mean, they are general. There's some specificity, but each person's body is unique. And this is where the invitation comes to listen to your own body, right? These are merely suggestions. Oh, look at a person. A young person is here with us. Hi, young person. Hi. Okay. And this is super important, everybody, to limit your intake of cold and raw foods, especially in winter, because it's very depleting to the warming, the yang principle, and yang being about transformation of fluids. Drink room temperature water, herbal teas to stay hydrated, and also include warming herbs and spices. Cloves, cardamom, cinnamon is excellent for circulation. All right, let's see where we are. We're at 12:41. Okay, black sesame seed soup. Okay, so real quick, yes, I have someone who's going to share a little bit about that with us. But I want to make a connection because it may not be evident, and I want to try to make a connection that everything in Chinese medicine and the 5 elements is about resonance. So the energetic, I'll say, template of winter relates to the energetic template of water. And within our bodies, again, that is the kidneys, which I said earlier, the kidneys are considered to be the seed of all energy for our body, all processes for our body. And so, especially in the season of winter, we need to get our seeds. And black sesame seeds are like such special medicine. Okay, so let me stop my share. Kim. So Kim is going to share with us a recipe for black sesame seed soup.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Kim.
Hi.
And do you want to just say a little bit about you and like all your creative endeavors?
My name is Kim Jensen. I live in Baltimore, neighbor with Martha, and she helps me in her wonderful studio. Definitely was sort of one of the first people I met coming to Hamden 2 years ago. I'm from California, and I can say everything about the winter was always a fantasy. It was something I saw on TV and movies. I didn't think was real. And now living in Ithaca and Maine, Korea, I definitely know winter. So Maryland's warm to me now. And the black sesame soup comes that I want to share with you guys today comes from Korea, which is a very special place in my heart. Not only is my name Kim Jensen, which is Danish, but in Korea, it translates to John Smith, literally. It's the most popular boy's name, the most popular last name, and put in the perfect order. And so in my time in Korea, I went there to study language, and I thought I would be doing my career there, but instead I just got obsessed with the food and culture. And one thing that is very special about their food is the Korean rainbow. The Korean rainbow comes in the clothing. If you've ever seen the Korean wedding clothes, they're very colorful, every color. Art, design there is very colorful. And the reason why they do it is they believe that the 5 elements, wood, fire, earth, metal, and water, or the 5 orientations, east, south, center, west, and north, can be consumed. So a beautiful plate of Korean food often has 5 colors in it. And interestingly enough, water being the symbol, Martha said, of winter, water is represented by the color black. So their rainbow isn't red, orange, yellow, green, blue, like we associate with the natural rainbow. It is blue, red, yellow, white, and black. Blue is wood, red is fire, yellow is earth, white is metal, and black is water. And this black sesame soup is a great way to feed your family or yourself for 25 cents a bowl. And that's what I teach my students. I really love when you can take a bean or a seed and create volumes of food with it. So with just 4 ingredients, toasted black sesame seeds, you can toast them yourself, sweet rice flour, which you can get at any Asian market, cold water, and a little bit of kosher salt at the end, you create a beautiful porridge. It has the consistency of cream of wheat, and it's just really nourishing. And I find it very beautiful to look at too, like this beautiful black soup that you're eating. It kind of can be a little purpley sometimes. So Martha, if you'd like, you can email everyone or just share the PDF I sent you by email earlier. And then everyone can have the recipe, and my website's there if anyone
Thank you.
ever wants to talk about Korean food or the rainbow. So
Thank you so much, Kim. And I just want to say the synchronicity of it. Last night, as I was doing my thoughts to share today, I was of course thinking about Last Sesame Seeds, and I thought of him, and I was like, oh, I should reach out to Kim and see if maybe she could come today. And then, can you guys hear me?
mhm.
Yeah, okay, it said unstable. And then when I woke up this morning, there was a registration and it was from Kim. I was like, oh, thank you. So, and then I said, could you please share? So thank you so much, Kim. And yes, I will share that with everybody. And yes, you'll get all these infos. And now let me go back to my screen share. This is how I attempt to stay organized. Yep, seafood, black sesame, toasted walnuts, everybody, walnuts. So again, walnuts, there's something called law of signature. They resemble the brain. And so the kidneys govern the brain and the bone in medicine. So eat your walnuts. Toasted brings out a little more of the yang in them, but you don't want to heat them too hot. You just want to like toast them at like nothing higher than 185. Kidney stew. Oh my gosh, my mom used to make kidney stew when I was a kid, and I was just like, what is this? Oyster stew, crab soup. I mean, honestly, I don't eat it today, but I do like thinking about it in terms of like this time of year, getting in organ meats if you're open to eating, if you do eat meat, if you consume animal products. All right. So now it's time to have Quabila tell us a little bit about maybe a few herbs. So whatever you want to share with us around herbs that might be helpful during winter.
Yeah, so what was it, November? I was talking with a few folks about different herbs that I like to rely on during the winter. And as Martha shared already, right, really thinking about herbs that are gonna stimulate our blood and circulatory systems. I'm cold year round, but I especially find that in the winter, it is incredibly hard to like regulate my body temperature. And so, cinnamon, cayenne, ginger, turmeric, everything that's going to like heat my body internally, I find to work really well. I have this year, I've been relying on a fermented honey that includes ginger, garlic, and I also decided to add some lemon for some additional vitamin C support. But those herbs, to me, I kind of repeat those every winter. They're pretty reliable. I find them to also be cost effective, right? Because you don't need that much of it. And so making a fermented honey, you can choose to just eat the honey, or you can also consume the ginger and garlic that you choose to ferment in it if you have a strong, palate. Your breath is going to be pretty garlicky, but I just find that garlic and ginger are really great for prevention, right? Just something to take kind of on a daily basis, but especially when you begin to feel any sickness. I know when I, a couple of times this winter, I've gotten like a sore throat, and immediately upon feeling that, I reach for that fermented honey. But I think what's probably often not thought about when it comes to like herbs that we can use to support ourselves are our nervines, right? I know, Martha, you mentioned that, this is a time where our nervous systems really get thrown out of whack. And I will say that like my introduction to herbalism really did start with our nervines, and especially those in our mint family. So I'm thinking about passion flower or Passiflora incarnata. I'm thinking about sage. I'm thinking about lavender and lemon balm. I have a tincture that I use semi-regularly. It includes passion flower, lavender, lemon balm, and I believe I also put some milky oats in there. So Martha, I know we had talked previously. I'm not sure if you plan on bringing milky oats up, but those herbs all really help me stay balanced. And post the holiday season, stress can be at an all-time high. We might be trying to recover financially from dealing with family. We might have been able to take off time from work, and now we have to go back into a stressful environment. And I just find that those herbs are really supportive. I will say that of those herbs, passion flower, I find that to be the most sedative of them all. And so that is not necessarily an herb that I like to use by itself or like daily. That's more of an herb when I'm feeling particularly unnerved and I cannot focus or calm myself down. Whereas something like lemon balm, I forgot to mention Tulsi, and that's over in the adaptogen family, but something like lemon balm, I find it to be gentle enough to use on a daily basis. So I think thinking about not just sort of, the coldness and the tension that we may be feeling in our bodies from a physical perspective, but always thinking about what may be we experiencing from a mental and emotional perspective, and how might herbs support us through that. And I'll end by saying one herb that I find myself gravitating a lot towards this winter has actually been peppermint. I usually don't work with peppermint too often, but this winter I have found it to be extremely comforting and grounding, mostly by making tea or using it in an infusion, right? So a stronger tea. Every morning I've been sipping peppermint tea, and I feel like all that anxiety that I have knowing that I'm about to start work kind of settles itself, which is important for me to be able to like focus and plan out my day. And then when I'm kind of already honestly spiraling or something, making a peppermint infusion helps settle my stomach, because my stress shows up really badly in my stomach. And so during the winter time where it's already dark outside early, it's cold, I have work stressing me out, I have found that peppermint has honestly been really comforting this winter. So I'll leave it there. I don't want to take up too much more of our time, but definitely lean into your warming herbs, but also your nervines and your adaptogens, Tulsi, holy basil. That's like a timeless herb as well. So anything else, Martha?
No, thank you so much, Quabila. I love like the when you were sharing about peppermint, you said, like for you, I don't even know if you use the word anxiety, but your stress, it manifests in the stomach. Like that's something, and I it's like really important, like in this process of learning ourselves more, that we have understanding of where our stress lives in our body. And then as a result, like if the energy's all the way up here already, right? Like when one of the nervines to help my back down. And one of the things we found a little bit was the herb is calendula. And so calendula is this beautiful, if you're not familiar with it, it's this beautiful orange flower. It grows locally and, in Maryland. And it's often used in skin formulas because it's very soothing to the skin. And one of the things I've been learning about calendula, though, is that it's a great one to include in a mix in the winter because it's so bright. And it's like, it reminds our being, our spirit that like the light is going to return. So if we're going through a dark time, like put some calendula into a mix, maybe with some other nervines. It's this beautiful way of like moving grief, moving darkness out of our being in very gentle ways. So calendula is another one that I am actually practicing with this winter. And then you said Milky Oats, and Milky Oats is like the other queen to me, like this, the queen of nervines. And it actually, nervines and herbs, what's so remarkable is that actually help to repair and rebuild frazzled nerve endings. So Milky Oats, when you harvest it at the time when it's in its oat phase, there's actually like milk, latex, but you can imagine what it does is like that milky substance comes in and like soothes the nervous system. So Milky Oats all the time, every day. All right, you're winding down, everybody. Thank you. All right, so let me just scoot back over. I do want to, let me scoot. Okay. There's more on essential oils. There's more about stones you could bring in. Oh, let me share my screen. Where are you guys? Share the screen. Okay, boop and boop. All right, so if we take away nothing else, please remember this, that needing more rest this time of year is not pathological. It is actually the intelligence of the body. Winter, as I said, winter gives to spring. So again, the more we are tending the winter, whether it's daily or seasonal, the more vitality and the more creativity, creative drive we will have and experience in our being. And the perennial question, right? Like, how do I become a better steward of my being and of the natural world? And like, how do I join in that reciprocal relationship? And so, yeah, I'll leave that as an inquiry, right? Like we can all have that inquiry this winter and perhaps throughout the whole year, and wonder, right? Like how, when I take care of my yin, when I elevate my own nourishing of life, right, in a way that is kind and receptive and slow, like how might that, or how does that then help to restore more harmony in our environment, in our world, on the earth that is like just in so much duress? So quickly, the renewal winter session is opening for registration tomorrow. And renewal is a 28-day course designed to reset body, mind, and spirit. There's a focus on seasonal eating, ritual, and community. It is a transformational course on holistic nourishment. So like going more in depth, and we have a weekly meeting for 5 meetings weeks. It is a comprehensive program, and this is the first year that I have a hard copy workbook, which I will pick up tomorrow, and I'm super excited about. Begins January 11th, and it can all be done online. You can join from anywhere. The meetings are all virtual. You can see this on the website. Also, if you go to the website, this is the first page, like giving you a kind of overview of what the course offers. The group meetings are held on Tuesdays from 7 to 8 p.m. Pam Stein, again, creative collaborators, and as Sandeep will also be there offering support, maybe more background support for me. And then
Martha, we lost you. We can see you, but you're muted.
okay, I'm here. All right, we're doing a wrap up. Back to this. Yep, group meetings, those are the times. And this is the big reveal, everybody, big reveal. So it opens tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern time. And if you register before January 5th, I haven't even created the discount code yet. I was supposed to do that. You get $200 off, $200 off. So I'm going to be creating a discount code and I will send that in the recap email. If you or anyone you know is interested, please share. This is like my new baby and it's something I'm super excited about to be sharing and creating community around nourishment that is integrative in a way that considers environment. Let's see what else I have. Oh yeah, upcoming events. So local, there's an art opening here with Andrea Sara. She's an amazing painter, local Baltimore painter. 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. And then Kamaria, I waited to the very last minute to introduce you. I'm so sorry. Kamaria Joyner, amazing friend and yoga instructor here at Full Moon and also creative whirling amazing dervish. We'll be offering a free yoga class on January 16th, 7:30 p.m. And I'll put that link in. So notice it's called Yin Yoga. So it is perfect for the winter season. It's great all year round for cultivating, slowing down, steady nervous system. Maria, do you want to say anything, my dear? You're muted.
Yeah, I just wanted to say hi to everyone. Thank you for welcoming me into this space. Yes, please come to class. You got so many adjectives for what yin is, and that's what I get a lot with students. Some that have taken it on the West Coast are like, oh, I hate yin because it's this, or I don't like yin because it's that. Yin is many, many things. And just a little bit of background, my style of teaching is a little bit of Paul Grilly, which is the original yin. They call it Taoist yin, but it's based on slow fluid movement and traditional Chinese medicine. I've studied Bernie Clark. That is what most people know in North America, that's super still. So I'm a little bit Paul, a little bit Bernie, a lot of Kamaria with my teaching philosophy being rooted in just awareness of the central nervous system and how that works. So that's
Thank
it.
you, Kamari. Yes, and thank you so much. And so free class, and you'll be doing other classes this year. I know, Kabila, you have a beautiful class coming up in February, sponsored through Foxhaven Farm. Can you just say the title of that class, because it's amazing?
Yes, it's Radical Self-Care and Inclusive Wellness, and it's virtual.
Thank you.
Yes.
So more information on that, I think on your website, which is theholisticagenda.com. Yeah. Okay, cool. Thank you guys so much. $200 off renewal until midnight on the 5th. I'll send you the code. And I hope I'm not forgetting anything. I'm very grateful that you were here and now the therapy. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. Happy wintering. Reach out if you have questions.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Martha.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Hi, Martha. You want to stay on for a minute?
Okay, sure. Let me stop my share because we don't need that anymore. Okay, it's just us. Hi.
Hi. That went really, really well. Oh my gosh. It was so dense with like such great information.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I was too dense.
No. It was perfect. It was a great balance. It was beautiful. And it was really, really, it was really nice.